I'm Dr. Cheryl O'Neill. I'm an associate veterinarian here at Riverview Animal Hospital in Riverview, Michigan. I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian when I first realized that it was an actual job. I've always loved animals. I never remember not loving animals. My mom and dad have home videos of me when I was 2 years old carrying around puppies. I've had animals my whole life, and I've just always wanted to help them, and when I realized that that's something that was a career path, that's what I've always worked towards. As a younger student in elementary school and junior high, high school, I was always a good student. I always loved school. I was the kid that played school in the summer, so I never had to be motivated to do well in school. But then once I realized what it was going to take to get into veterinary school, then I really became even more focused on getting good grades, and that was really important to me. Almost to a fault where I look back now in hindsight and maybe I could have had a little bit more balance of fun or play, things like that, especially in college. I was so driven to try to attain that goal. So I started with taking college prep classes in high school. My parents did not go to college. My dad was a sergeant in the Army, my mom was a homemaker, so we were on the lower middle class of the economic scale. But I didn't let that deter me. I had talked to counselors in high school, and they encouraged me to apply for scholarships and to do whatever I needed to do to get into college. And once I was in college, then still applying for scholarships, grants, and student loans to get me through. So when you decide to go to college and you don't have any parental financial support, you have to look at all your options. So like I had said, I applied for scholarships and loans and grants, and I was able to get enough scholarship and grant money for the first four years of school, with only having a little bit on that fourth year. And then going into veterinary school, then I had to finance all of that. And that was, I came out of veterinary school in 1989 with about $50,000 worth of debt, which back then was quite a bit, considering that a starting veterinarian salary was only about $20,000 to $25,000 a year, depending on where you worked. But at the time, I knew I was going to have a lot of debt, but I also figured I would just make it work. I would look into getting the loans and getting the scholarships and grants that I could, and that I didn't let it deter me. When I would go and talk to the counselors in college, they didn't lead me to believe that it couldn't be done. So since somebody didn't slam that door shut, I just figured I would just take the loans and I would pay them back. And so it was challenging. I started working as a teenager, doing anything from babysitting to waitressing, and then I started here. My first year was a volunteer, because you need 240 hours of working or volunteering in a veterinary related field before you can apply to vet school. So I came here as a volunteer, and then after the first year, Dr. Cook actually hired me as a receptionist, veterinary assistant, kennel girl, if you will. And then I worked here every summer full-time when I was in college and in veterinary school, and during spring break, summer break, Christmas break. So when I was at Michigan State, I did work also when I could until I got into veterinary school. Then I worked one semester, but then I realized that it was too challenging because of the credit hours and the difficulty level of the classes. And once you get into veterinary school, you think, oh good, I'm in vet school, but then you have that pressure to stay in school because it is so challenging. And then my personality is the type that I still wanted to do the best that I could. I didn't want to just get by. I wanted to graduate near the top of my class. So it had that pressure of having to stay in school and get good grades, and yet still having to finance your education. But with the help of counselors telling me what to apply for and getting student loans, and my parents did co-sign for loans for me, so I was able to make it work. I had mostly highs, some lows. It's been a very fulfilling career, helping animals, helping people with their animals. Most people that bother to bring their animals in and spend money on them care about them and treat them as another family member, so that's been very rewarding. The most challenging part of practice has been the financial restrictions that I have. We don't have the luxury of insurance as they do in human medicine, so that can sometimes be a little bit of a dilemma with trying to come up with a treatment plan that an owner can afford. But overall, the highs are way better than the lows, and day to day it's a very fulfilling career. When my career here comes to an end, which could be in a couple of years or a couple of months, I don't know yet, then I still feel young enough that this is not going to be the end. I'm just not going to go home and do nothing. So I have felt drawn into trying to better myself physically. Had a few health scares, and so now I'm really trying to eat healthier and have more physical activity, and I'm hoping to maybe start a faith-based ministry to women for better health. So I'm hoping that that's something I can start at our church if God opens that door. And I'd also like to do volunteer work. The local animal shelters can always use help, and I think with my expertise it would be a great fit. And so there are so many opportunities ahead that I'm looking forward to retirement, because I know that it's something that I can make a difference even if I'm not in my career. I think that if you want something bad enough and you're willing to put in the work that it takes, that it's attainable. You just have to be really motivated and ambitious, and you have to push hard even through the bad times, and it will be worth it if you really put your mind to it.